Hello, this is Demonocalypse, and today we'll be looking at another early access game. I've been really on a kick of these lately. Hopefully, I can figure out a way to bring you guys some more regular content with something that is a bit more finished than this. I'm currently putting together a mod list that I hope you guys will like for Fallout New Vegas, Tale of Two Wastelands. So I'll be popping back and forth between the two areas. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Today we are looking at Project Aura. Aura. A-U-R-A. I'm just going to call it Aura. There we go. Um, Project Aura is a city. It's kind of a city building survival disaster relief sim, I guess you could say. Basically, Earth went to heck in a handbasket. The humans have survived beneath shielded cities in cryostasis, and now the environment has become livable enough that you can slowly build back civilization. Or at least that's how I understand it. You could have gone to a new planet, I don't know. Um, and this I think it may be louder for me than you guys, but okay. So video, you have standard resolution, full screen, anti-aliasing, graphics quality, texture quality. Not a lot of options, but the game, it's a city building sim. You don't need to have great um, graphics in these mostly. So long as it runs good, there's no unexpected slowdowns, which something like I have Cities XL. That game chugs whenever I try to put a road down. I haven't run into that issue with this game yet. There's still a lot of features that they're planning on that haven't been implemented yet, but so far it is playable. It's just that some things don't work exactly right. Audio, standard audio, camera, mouse sensitivity, invert scroll. I kind of understand that if you use the Mac. Language and autosave, and that's it for options. Now, the tutorials are terrible. I can show you everything that's in the tutorial in 5 minutes. These tutorials are really long for no reason, mostly because they want their AI consultant to just yammer on for long periods of time. I can show you the entire thing that it shows you within 5 minutes. So you start. I already have a game. Yeah, I'm on day 18. Game 4, Almac. Almac is the name of the colony. Day 18, difficulty low. Now, the reason why I'm playing on low difficulty is that it doesn't actually change how hard the game is. What it does change is how much starting resources you have, and that was my first test game. I still haven't gotten a good hold on the best way to start up a colony, but I think I have the right approach down. First, you get food, then you get plastic, then you get metal. That's about the right hold you have on it. But right now, there's only one colony setup you can choose from, the Vital Reserve Zero Beta. Um, Start off with 250 synthetic coins. Uh, Climate, disaster frequency none. Market response none. Colonist responsibility. I think they're using the wrong words for these. um, Market. Basically, everyone has unlimited everything so long as you have the money, you can buy it. Colonists, you will gain. You will slow. There's a slow rotation of colonists that it'll go through every 10 minutes or so. It'll show you a new 5 colonists or so that you can then hire in order to work on certain buildings. You can even change the colors of your colonists. The helmets seem to be random, and I think they were just put in because no one wanted to do face modeling, which I can totally understand. I hate modeling faces myself. And there's both male and female models. And then the packing? Okay. Select your package. So you can start with, choose that. And I start with 50,000 synth credits, difficulty low, adds 25,000 synth credits, climate difficulty low. And then if you go, yeah. And as you increase difficulty, you'll start with less money. The climate will be worse, difficulty will be worse, and so on and so forth. Basically, right now, this doesn't do a lot except for lower the amount of credits you start off with, which does make the game more difficult. Let me think. Okay, to get that started up, you need 3,000. So this is just barely livable. Barely. Actually, this is non-functional. Collect shit. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. But anyways, it's not necessary for me to start a new colony. I'll just show you what I have. That way I don't have to go through the entire process. Okay. Now, as this game is an alpha, there are certain things that it does have issues with. Okay, so this here is my colony. As you can see, it's basically Atlantis from the Stargate Atlantis show. One big central platform, which you can't put anything on. And then a bubble shield that protects it from... Is it raining outside? Yeah, it's still raining outside. And it's always raining outside. So, here you'll see what I have is habitation blocks. Each one of these holds 50 colonists. Right now, I have a selection of colonists. And you'll notice, okay, we're colonists. Each one has a job. They're good at that job, and that's pretty much what they like to do. If you put them in a job they like to do, their happiness will go up, and yada, yada, yada. So this one's an artisan, operator, heavy operator, farmer, artisan, versatile. Versatile can basically do anything, but he's not great at anything. Medic, programmer, artisan, versatile, and heavy operator. There's also pilot, recycler, and director. Now, right now, as far as I can tell, the programmer and medic are completely useless because there's no hospital and the research building does not work properly. Now, this game has an interesting building. Okay, so first colonists. You hire colonists in order to do things. And in order for them to work, you have to have buildings. How much money do I have? Damn it. This game has an issue with not holding onto your cursor correctly. As you can see, I have a lot of crap. No, literally, I have a lot of crap. This is mostly organic garbage that is then put into a recycling plant and then used to turn it into seaweed and fertilizer, which is then used to go into the seaweed farm where it is then fattened up using the seaweed is fattened up with the fertilizer you just gained, and then you dry it out in order to get edible seaweed and water. Now, this game has a major issue with the continuous operation mode. It doesn't work like any other game on the planet. Every single time it stops working, instead of restarting as soon as there's enough resources to be actually used, you have to restart it manually. And since there is no notification that it's not working properly, you have no idea when that's going to be. To see you make the you can I do suggest going through the tutorial if you do buy the game because it is somewhat useful, even though it takes way too long. Pretty much you can learn everything you learn in the tutorial through pictures. But as you can see, seaweed farm. From the seaweed farm, you need a director, which goes into the first slot. Then you need tech order pieces, which you have to buy in order to do certain things. So here you have seaweed fattening, which you need farmers in order to use. The farmers are also taken from your pool of colonists that you can defrost. So you can just drag and drop those over here and then hook them to the part here. From there, you have to hit the continuous production button and the start button. So, unlike every other game in the world where you just tell it to unlimited produce and there may be a pause button somewhere on it, this game, when you hit unlimited produce, you have to also tell it to start production. Quite frankly, one of the more annoying points of the game because, like I said, it will stop production and never tell you about it. It will tell you about it down here, but the notification panel is tiny. It makes absolutely no noise, which I do like about it. Otherwise, every time it started something and making a noise, it would drive me insane. Um, but it would be nice if it made a noise if it said, stopping production. This building has nothing to do anymore. And there doesn't seem to be a button that shows the inactive buildings. But you do have the different plants here. That doesn't seem to do anything. And you can also see there's something. There's something in the background. I have no idea what that is. It's just all I know is that it's on a very low subharmonic frequency, and it makes my subwoofer on my speakers go crazy whenever it plays. It just sounds really weird. There's nice ambient music though. I'll give it that. Um, yeah. So the first thing you'll want to do is probably build a either you'd want to build a desalination plant in order to create water which you can then sell. You don't need to build a desalination plant, but it's a good idea simply because it's cheap. It's a fairly cheap plant to build, and all it requires is people working and repairing it. You got the building maintenance tech here, which you have to buy and rebuy and rebuy and rebuy constantly in order to actually make sure that you end up with I don't know why, like, you buy it once, you know what it is, you copy and paste it. It's a piece of technology, it's not actual hardware. Why the balls can't you just copy and paste it? It makes no sense, quite literally, quite frankly. But that's how they decided to do it. It does work fairly well, but I don't think should be necessary for us to have to rebuy this every single time we build a new building. Um, then you'll also see that there's, I think this could be my worst video ever, but from there you have to set up the hangars where you'll see the ships. They're flying in, flying out, and they're collecting different things. Now, on most of the larger, more expensive plants, you'll find a choose production window on the whatever it is. This is the extraction module, resource extraction. And you can set it to organics, plastics, and metals. I set it to organics because that's what you use to gather seaweed, which we use for food. And then you have to set up a pilot, and then you have to also set up a ship, which you can then set up with a scanner, cargo container, and shield. These don't do anything right now. Actually, if I understand correctly, the next update will make all past saves non-compatible with the new update. So they're planning on putting that out sometime this week, maybe next week. I'm not absolutely certain. And then from there, you go to a recycling plant. Now, this is another thing that's really bloody annoying. The right click doesn't do anything unless you're in this menu. You have to long hold the left click button to put this up. And it's just weird. Because this is a right click here. Left click just moves it around. Left click doesn't do anything, but right click brings up this panel, and right click doesn't do anything on the outside except rotate your camera. And middle click doesn't do any, like, middle clicks the camera controls, like zoom in, zoom out, but it doesn't do anything when you click it. But I'm griping here. I am griping. I know I'm griping. I'm doing a terrible presentation here. So first you probably set up a desalinization plant just to gain water so you can feed your give your colonists some food, some liquids to drink, and then you send it over to, then you build a hangar in order to collect organic garbage, which is then sent to a recycling plant where it is processed into whereas then recycled into fertilizer and seaweed. Just enough fertilizer and seaweed to make 100 fed seaweed at the seaweed farm. From the seaweed farm, it is then dried into seaweed portion, which is food, and water portion, which is food. Right now, I'm not actually certain if they're actually working. Now, you do have to feed your colonists at the food management thing right here. And you can set up different meals. I've set up one meal of seaweed portion and one meal of water portion. This is to ensure that if I ever run out of, say, the water portion of it, I still have water to give. There's still fed seaweed, because if there's a meal that has seaweed and water together and water is missing, then it will cancel itself out and not work. You'll have to add water. So might as well just have one of water and one of seaweed. As you can see, morale is a +1. Everyone's happy with it. And then there's also 2.5 plus 2.5 to nutrition and 2.5 to hydration. Everyone starts at 50%, and it can go up to 100 once you awake them from cryostasis. Now, that's 20 minutes, and I think I covered not really. Now, over here I have a hangar set up to collect plastics extraction. From plastics, I have to go over here to this recycling plant, which isn't running right now. And then, which will turn the plastic scrap that I have several thousand of into their base components. From there, I need to tell it to sort it into alpha, beta, and I think that's gamma. Yeah, gamma particles, which I then have to use a plastic grinding for alpha particles into alpha flake, which is then melted into alpha polymer alpha. I mean, it's convoluted, is probably the best way I can put it. I mean, if you're gonna grind it, why not melt it right away? But the the big thing about the game is that it's both macro and micro management. You have to figure out what you need, and then you have to figure out every single goddamn step to get there. Quite frankly, it's annoying, but it's also incredibly intriguing too. Like the most annoying thing about it for me anyways, it's just that once in a while it just stops. It just stops. There's no explanation whatsoever as to why it stops. It just stops. And like, okay, the desalinization plant, that never stops. There's no reason for it to ever stop. Why? Because all it needs is water. We're surrounded by that. It just needs water and a stable building. The building's at 100% health. Why the fuck did you stop? Now, there's two buttons down here as well. Technology, which doesn't do anything, scheduled for beta 3, and the platform section, which is also scheduled for beta 3. My understanding is that in beta 3, you will not start with both an inner and an outer array of platforms. You'll only start with the inner array. From there, you have to build the outer array, and you can change it to do different things. But right now, like, this is a stable game. I've not had a single crash with it. It looks okay. There's some things are finicky. Like, where are you? I think it was on this one that I did it. As you can see, I accidentally placed a, what is this? A water desalinization tech inside of this seaweed farm panel. I can't remove it. It's either a bug or something else, but as far as I can tell, I can't figure it out. Like, control clicking, alt clicking, shift clicking, nothing works. And you can't just drag and drop it to get rid of it. No, that would make too much sense. Like this button center, there's on the organization chart here. There's buttons at the bottom here. This is go to building, center to flowchart, open node tech window. I don't think that does anything. Nope. But yeah, once in a while the pop-ups don't show up fast enough in my opinion. I think I gotta sell some of this. Alright. And it took me a little while to figure this out, how to actually sell things so you could make money. But how you do that is actually by going over to your inventory, holding shift down, and then right clicking on things. So I have 3,000 extra just scrap plastic laying around. I'm going to sell that shit because there's nothing I can really do with it. Then I also have a beta scrap, plastic scrap beta, which is, it's one cyber credit, soft credit. It's one credit per piece of scrap. So this is 1,000. This is 1,000 credits, and it's not like I can't process them yet, so I might as well sell them. And then the gamma is 2 credits per scrap, and then the alpha is a fourth 0.4 credits per scrap, which is a little wonky if you ask me, but it seems to work. Now, the only thing I really need after this is probably going to be a prefab factory. And with this, I'll be able to show you the interesting thing with the building. As you can see with the template creator here, making a new template, you can decide what you want to build and where you want to build it. Like, this is a very large building. So, there's one, and then I can't fit another one on this platform because it's too small. And platform here is, as far as I can tell, the same size as one of the small platforms. So you got the the precast factory, which I'm sure will do the majority of the work, and then a workshop to repair it, because these things do get damaged from being used. And then that's it. Looks like they actually have two workshops on this one here. I guess that's to make sure that it doesn't break down. Now, from here, when you have something lit up like this, you can actually like make sure you go with someone that has all the resources you need. But you can actually drag and drop your the template you've created over onto the market, and that will allow you to buy all the resources you need in order to craft or build the building. Okay, from here I'm gonna have to sell some shit, quite literally, so that I can buy. How much is this worth? Ugh, man, that's a terrible price. Do I have any sea? I have water. Sell some water. And I still need about 300. Man, that's cheap. Plastic. Do I have any gamma? And beta. There we go. And I have just enough in order to buy the resources I need in order to construct this prefab factory. That is loud. And it doesn't seem like some of the... I know. Let's get rid of that. And these windows cannot be dragged from anywhere. Think windows. There's always a bar area on the top where you can grab to pull it around. Now, after you've decided on your template and decided where you want to put it, you just drag and drop. From here, if you would like to rotate it, just scroll your mouse wheel. See if I can put it over here. No, well, I can put it here. And there it's built. From here, you can get a director, blueprint for a prefab, building maintenance, and building maintenance. So what tech do I have laying around? I have resource extraction, drying seaweed, cultivate, metal refining, and recycling. So none of these will work. First, I'm going to have to find a director, which there aren't any. So I'm going to grab the versatile guy here, or lady as the case may be. Oh, I'm out of credits. Food. No. Market open. Sell food. Okay, now I have money. Okay, from there, I'm going to need a plastics, 2 building maintenance, and some sort of prefab tech. I believe assembly will work on this, but I'm not absolutely certain. Plastic prefab, here we go. Actually, that should work fine. Plastic prefab, purchase 1, and then 2 building maintenance. Loud. Okay. Now you'll see that this, the building maintenance prefers technicians. Technicians and artisans, either one will work. Generally, I like to make sure these guys are doing their job before I set up the other person to do their job. So, plastic prefab. And, okay, I got 2. Here's a technician. Now, there's another thing you should notice about the icons for the people. It's a junior, versatile, and he's a level 1. As they gain levels, they become more proficient at whatever job you decide to give them. Hopefully I can find another... I don't have one. Okay. So I'm going to use artisans instead. Artisans, as far as I can tell, their primary job has not been implemented yet. So they're pretty much just less efficient technicians right now. Then again, there could be something around here that I'm not quite sure about. Set up another artisan on this one, and hopefully I can find a... okay. I want you to start infinitely repairing the building. Start infinitely repairing the building. Now I'm going to need a heavy operator to repair the to start this. I don't have one, so I'll just use a standard operator. And from there, he's going to make the alpha polymer alpha into module alpha prefab, which is used for a lot of the buildings. So right now, start infinitely creating that. Now, he's going to create a certain amount of work. 14, it looks like. The font in this game is bloody terrible. They really need to choose something that's easier to read, or use the bold version of this font, because it's just very hard to read. So every cycle he creates 14 work, so it'll take 7 or 8 cycles in order to complete the work. There are 24 cycles in the day. A cycle is just an hour. I wish they'd... if it's not necessary to change a word, don't change it, people. And from there, I can hire more people to make sure that they create more work points per cycle. So right now I have a farmer, artisan, versatile operator, farmer, recycler, pilot, farmer, versatile, researcher. I could grab that other operator, just see... okay, so it was creating 14, now it's creating 28, so it means it's going to be 34. It's going to be 4 cycles before it completes. Yeah. And that's it. That's basically the game. Now you just have to make sure that your plants don't get run down too much by being used, which is my biggest issue right now. With the way the prefabs and everything are set up, the recycling plants, how you build them in this template, I think it's actually a brilliant idea. Do I necessarily think that they should limit it to, like, right now, most of my recycling plants, I want to add another workshop onto them so that they can repair themselves faster. I want to do that. But presently, I can't. Because then I would have to deconstruct my buildings. I think it'd be a good idea if there was a way to change a building later on. If you figured out, hey, this isn't working out quite as well as I'd hoped it would, can I change it without having to completely deconstruct it? That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I'm having an issue with right now. Otherwise, the game, yeah, it looks good. The water effects, like you're on a water, you seem to be over some sort of highway. I'm not quite sure what that is. And as far as I can tell, you can go out infinitely into the distance. Follow the highway for a little bit. The only issue is if you get out too far, will you know how to get back? I mean, the water is just beautiful. In comparison to a lot of games out there anyways. You can also change the speed of the game by hitting shift and then plus and minus keys on your numpad. Numpad. You can also hold shift and the scroll wheel of memory. Nope, doesn't seem to work. Bugger. Yeah. it's on the numpad and only the numpad, which I currently have set up to start and stop my recordings. Because nothing else on the planet uses them! I've never run into this problem before. Most of the time when games are set up, they know not to use the numpad for anything. Unless it's some really, really weird game, or, well, not necessarily weird. I know a few southpaw left-handed people that do use the numpad instead of WASD, which is one of the major things right now. There is no key rebinding in the game right now, but it's the second version of Alpha 0.22. Point 3 is supposed to bring in a couple of the different features. Right now, I think I'm having a power issue right now, though. Um, and there's nothing you can do about that. You can't do anything about power right now. I have 95 out of 2,000 people available, and I don't think I can increase my power anymore. And I'm at plus 48 right now. But the only thing I really want to change right now is just the font. It's so hard to read anything. I mean, sure, it looks good, but it's so hard to read anything. It's so damn tiny. And then there's this color. I think that's 1,194. It's completely illegible. And is that a 5 or a 0? It's a 0. I don't know. I know what these numbers mean here. How much power you have, how much power is in storage, how many people you have, how many people you can have. I don't know what any of these mean. At first, I thought they were overall value of colony, but I know I'm worth more than that much, so I think my seaweed farm stopped working again. So, two biggest issues with the game right now. This button, the infinite production, doesn't also start up production. It'll just continue production if you've already started up manually. I don't want that. I want it so that, hey, look, I have enough. I'll start up production. That should be easy enough. But no. Also, it doesn't seem like my my recycler can keep up with the amount of crap my chips are bringing in. And I don't like that sound effect that comes up every time you open up a menu. So, font. Infinite button should also start up production whenever resources are available. Sounds. Left click. Probably the left click functionality should be moved to the middle mouse button, and right click should bring up the menu rather than a long hold. But that's just me. Well, I can suggest this game right now. It is fulfilling to go throughout the small the micro and macro modifications to make sure everything runs appropriately. Um, and it seems to be one of the more realistic colony style games that I've run into, because you don't bring along useless fuck A, B, and C. You bring along engineer D and then leader E. You don't bring useless people along for colonies. Or the big thing that I'm trying to say. Anyways, I would suggest the game, like I said. Um, there are going to be more updates in the future. They're planning some for next week, if I read the forums correctly. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I think it ran for about 40 minutes, where I just prattled on like a lunatic. Isn't that fun? This has been Demonocalypse. I thank you for watching. Please leave any comments in the um, comment section, and I'll respond with an I'll respond to intelligence with intelligence and idiocy like so. Have a good day.